Hi everybody, my name is Harry Jacobs and I am the North of 60 Gamer. And you're watching the North of 60 Gaming channel. A game about board games and other types of games, but mainly board games. Today we're going to play through Pulp Invasion. This is a solo-only game by Todd Sanders. He's also known for the Pulp Detective series. I've already described the game and did an unboxing in a video, and I'm going to put that link below in the comments in my description. So if you have an interest of seeing that first with the description of the game, please have a look at it. Other than that, we're going to go right down to the board. We're going to start playing. The first thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you the setup of the game. Then we'll have a little bit of rules, but mainly we're going to do the rules as we go through it. And then we're going to play a game, and then I'm going to give you some final thoughts. So, join me down on my table in about 10 seconds or sooner, and we're going to play through Pulp Invasion. I do hope you enjoy this video. So here is the setup. This is the basic setup. It took me about 5 minutes to set this up. Up here are super weapons. We are looking for 4 super weapons, and they go into the bag represented by the 4 yellow cubes. The white cubes are misleads, so if we draw them, they're just misleading leads and they go back into the bag typically. These are our planets. We are going to go through the planet deck. We're going to work on the first 3 planets, and then we'll draw up 3 more planets as we go through. Our hegemonies, these are our galactic villains who are trying to rule the universe, and we're trying to keep the super weapons away from them. These are the encounter cards. Our starting cubes that are going to go into our bag. Our supply with some system dice. Each color gets 4 for combat, 4 wisdom, 4 diplomacy. The super weapons can be anywhere from 4 to 6, depending on how hard you want to make it. Here will be our encounter area, so we will have a planet. It's possible that we will have a location to deal with, as well as 4 encounters. And we have our captain, Atomica 9. They get a choice of any 2 of these 3 dice. I have chosen the combat dice and the engineering dice. On the card, they start with 18 combat, 11 engineering, and 11 diplomacy. You can see that represented here. And that is the start of the game. So that is the complete setup. Now I will say at this point I have cut in some of the X1 expansion cards. We may see a couple planets and and maybe a location or 2 that come up. I don't know. So we will then start our game by putting our cubes in the bag and then drawing our first 4 encounters. We are ready to start playing, as we've already set the game up and I've explained how that sets up. We have 3 planets here, and I'm going to choose the first planet right here. We have no keys. Now I would bring these up, but I don't think there's any point in that because the writing is really small, but we're going to try to bring this planet up. Have a look. So what this planet does, and it's the planet Frey's Edge, is allows us to pull the number of cubes based on the number of planets that we have. Normally, if you have a planet icon in a card, you would pull that many cubes out of the bag. However, in this case, this says if there's 0 to 1, you can draw 4 cubes. So the less is better in this case. Next we do is we're going to pull our 4 cards, and we're going to fill it in from left to right. And we have a hostile agent. We have a Techno Magnus. We have an anonymous drone. And we have the corpus of Yoon. Now, you can see in the right-hand corner, probably barely, is that there's a number, 444 and a 0. That is the number of cubes that we're going to have to, or resources that we're going to have to spend. And how do we know which resources to spend? We're going to use the icon here. So what that means is that we're going to spend, in this case, 4 combat in order to engage. We can also, in some cases, evade. The way the evade mechanism works is that I will spend 1 resource of any color that I have here, and then I will pull 2 cubes from the bag, and then I'll reduce the cubes as they come up. Any other cube goes back into the bag at that point, except for black cubes, which will go here. So the first card that we have to encounter is the hostile agent. It's a phalanx. And what that basically says is that this hostile agent will switch the engaged strength icon to whoever abilities are your weakest. So we know here that what we're saying is red because we know from our Technomagnus, you can see the red icon right here, that it is a 4 red that I would have to spend. In this case, I'm going to have to spend 4 of some other color in order to engage this. The only other option I have is to evade, and it's probably going to cost me 3 to evade. So I think at this point, let's get this card. These are the 2 cards I really need. If we look at the Technomagnus, you can see the little key symbol down here. And we have a little code symbol on our holographic robot. So in this case, I don't think necessarily that I want to actually engage this guy, so I'm going to invade. So I'm going to move my red down 1. And then I'm going to go into the bag. I'm going to pick up 2 cubes. A blue, and the white just goes back in. That's a I have to pick another one until we get a different color. So 2 blues. So I'm actually going to lose 2 blues. Now they'll all go back into the bag. And we basically have evaded this guy, being the phalanx. We are now going to engage our Technomagnus. We certainly want this key. So we have to pull 3 cubes. And if there are any orange or engineering cubes, we're going to actually have to add +1. We're going to have to defeat him with diplomacy. Diplomacy is our weakest link right now. So let's just see what we do here. Hopefully we're not going to draw orange. Oh, we drew 1. So actually this 4 is now a 5. One of these goes back into the general supply. Now the one thing I didn't do, actually before I drew these cubes, was actually put in cubes. And you can see right here, barely, that there's a symbol. And each one of these has a symbol. So actually I have 3 science and a diplomacy. So I'm going to put 3 science and diplomacy in the bag. Now I'm going to draw my 3 cubes. Because we put more science in here, this is a bit more risky now. We have our 3 cubes. One of this, the black goes on our hegemon, the quester. These 2 go back into the bag. So we don't have to worry about the +1 here. So we're going to have 4 diplomacy. It's going to be tight. We have a lot of diplomacy here. But we want the key, so I'm going to spend 2 diplomacy, and I can go 1 for 1 here, or 2 for 1. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 to defeat this card. So we've defeated this card. We'll move on to our automaton. If I engage, I can roll a system dice. I don't have a system dice. I have crew dice. I have to spend 4 more diplomacy, which is huge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually use my dice. That gives me 3, and we'll turn this down to a 5. So these are just, my crew is now supporting me. So we now have 5. Add one more here, and then use 2 more. 1, 2 is our 4. So sorry, that would have been 3, 4 is 2, plus 2 is 4. I have now moved on from our autonomous drone. The Corpus of Tune. For each diplomacy ability point you spend, draw a card off this cosmic homogeneity alien's deck. Place these cards back in any order. I'm not going to spend any blue, but at the same time, this is a 0, and that is a science. So I can engage it for 0 science. It's not going to hurt me. So we've engaged these 3. We've avoided these at quite a cost. However, that's the way this game goes. We probably will lose fairly quickly here. So what we do now is we do the draw phase. Unfortunately, I have 4 cubes, which only allows me to bring up 1 cube. Is there a hole in this bag? Oh, there is a hole. Oh my god. Well, that certainly was interesting. All cubes are accounted for. I got another bag. I've got bags all over the house. That's fine. This actually is a better bag. That just speaks to the components here. If you saw my unboxing, you can see the components are... Cubes are fine. The dice are fine. The cards were a little bit... I would have liked a little thicker cards. I would have also liked to have seen them at a more standard magic size, because it makes it small to read. However, let's go on. So at this point, we can draw 1 cube. Now, we are looking for the yellow cubes, but we can only draw 1, and we draw red. So what happens is we will add 1 to our combat. We'll put our red cube into the supply, thinning our deck. We will move these off to the discard. And we will draw 4 more cards, and we'll start the next round. So I am juggling a couple different things here. Things are busy. I've got 2 dogs outside who don't want to come in, even though it's minus 30 outside. But however, also that spill. So that's going to be a very interesting edit. But let's move on and do 4 more cards. So here we have a Guard Force Patrol. In an encounter, an Arvin Hegemony sector, which I don't believe we're in. No, we're not. We place an additional black cube in the bag, but that's not an issue. We have another agent, a Jatari. We have to draw 3 more cubes from the bag before you encounter this. If any gray black cubes are drawn, the Atari strength is doubled. Yay. We have a bias. You may upgrade 1 Captain's Crew die side or reroll a Captain's Systems die. So that's great, actually, because this will allow us to bump that back up to 6. But also we put the planet in the... I should say we should have put our planet into the discard pile. We will pick our next planet. I'm going to save the one with the keys for last. And then we're going to pick up this last card, another hostile agent, and he switches the strength for the weakest. So it's going to be diplomacy. We're going to be evading this guy. Now we're going to be putting in a red, which is combat, 2 engineering. Sorry, 2 combat and 2 engineering. I wish we would have some blue. So we're going to put 2 combat and 2 yellow. And then we do the same thing again. Now we're just going to... Now there are locations, but we have not come across a location yet. So the first card we're going to do is it's going to cost us 2 combat. He has a code. So this is quite an easy one. We're just going to spend the 2 combat. 1, 2, and away we go. This guy, if we draw any black cubes, we're going to have to double his strength. So we might have to evade him because he's another combat. We do have enough here to really do some damage to him. He has no key, so it's not important that we do something to him. So it might be better to evade him. But let's just see. So we're going to draw our 3 cubes. Hopefully we're not looking for a black. Excellent. So there's no issue here. Everything else goes back into the general supply. We thin our deck a little bit, which is wonderful. So the thing is now that we have to encounter him. It cost me 3 combat. So I'm going to spend the 3 combat. So that'll take us down to 9. Because it would cost me 3 to evade anyway, and I would probably spend the combat. And this diplomacy, I really want to save. So we've engaged him. This is 0, which is good. So he's very easy. This is the dais. So what we're going to do is just bump our dice back up to 6. Because that encounter didn't cost us anything. Where's 6? There it is. Then we have a hostile agent. So he's down to diplomacy again. So I'm just going to try to evade him. So I'm going to spend 1 combat. I'm going to draw 2 cubes. A yellow goes back. The yellow is super weapon. We can't use that. A white we can't use. We have to get a color. So we'll keep going until we get it. Okay, so we have another combat and another orange. Or science, that is. Now these all go back into the bag, I believe. Yes, they all go back into the bag. At this point, we have done our thing here. We've evaded the last guy. We've encountered these 3. We're going to draw 4 cubes because we have 4 planets. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 4 planet icons. The one thing I didn't do is I put my key and my code in the discard pile, which I shouldn't have done. There we go. So we'll correct that later. So we've corrected that from an earlier bit. Now we're going to draw our 4. Hopefully we're going to get some blues and maybe a yellow. So we got a black, which goes on this card. Once he hits 3, we're going to add +1 to the diplomacy. So we're going to push this guy up 2. 1, 2. We're going to push our diplomacy up 1. And these guys go into our general supply. And that is the end of this turn. I'm going to get our key card. And the rest of these cards are going to go into the discard pile. Our planet is going to go here. And we'll be on to the next turn. So we have saved the best planet for last because it'll allow me to use a key to draw the extra card or an extra cube. We will draw 4 more as we've done in the past. This time we have the spaceport. I really do like the art. And we are on the diplomacy line. Planets' icons are not counted during a planet search. Okay, so now we're going to move 1. We have our robot again. We've already drawn the first card, which was a location. And we have a Ansible Communications. So we'll get to that in a moment. So we have a hostile agent, the Jakari, which we've seen before. We have to draw 3 cards. And if they're black, we are going to have to double his thing. So, but you do that before the encounter, so I don't have to decide whether I'm going to encounter him first or second. And we drew the black. And I did the same thing again. So before we actually did that, we actually have 2 red cubes that are going to go in the bag. So I'm obviously going to repeat this a billion times. So let's now draw our 3 cubes, and hopefully the black won't show up. Oh, there it is. So it's still doubled. So our orange and blue will go back to the general supply. Now we're going to engage, and he's doubled. So I really don't want to fight him. So I'm going to spend 1 red, pull 2 cubes. Again, a blue and a yellow. We're getting down on that blue. Here's our yellow. And we're just not going to engage him at all. He's going to be 4 wisdom. That'll allow us actually to turn one. If we engage him, we can turn the dice again. He is going to be a science, but I can spend. Yeah, it's a bit of a waste to do that. I'm going to just spend the 4 science. 1, 2, 3, 4. What happens in the event of the last card in the chain? It'll roll around to here. It comes back to the first card. So we've defeated this card. Unfortunately, we can't take care of that effect. We only have 1 planet icon. So this accessible communications, and I'll just read that to you. Take this card and place it in front of me. If I remove it from the game, I may discard up to 2 cards of my choice from an encounter line and drawing them. After drawing them, and planet icons on them or on the discarded card are disregarded. So in other words, I'm just going to discard 2 cards. That's good. So that's the last one. Now we're back up to the draw phase. I've got 1 icon here. I can discard my key. Oops. I can draw 2 out of the bag. Oops, we got to put our 2 back. I'm going to draw 2 out of the bag. Whoops, that was 3. We still have to draw 2 out of the bag, and a red and an orange. Now we have not drawn any yellow yet. So let's discard our cards. So that is a issue. As the game winds down, we are falling behind on our resources. There are 4 yellow cubes in here. So now that we've emptied our planet, we're going to actually draw up 3 more. 1, 2, 3. So as we move into our next turn, this is going to go into the discard. Planet is going to go into the discard. You can see I have keys now and a code, which is really good because one of our planets actually takes advantage of the key. So at this point, I'm going to pull the next planet. Now we're into the next sector. And the hostile is Ka. And guard forces now have an extra combat. So no matter what they do, there's going to be an extra combat for the guard force, which makes it much more difficult. Moon 6 says if you have a key in your hand, discard, and you can use it a +1 for your science ability. I'm not sure whether that's going to work for us. And then we'll just continue on what we've been doing. We have the Hegemony Sentry. Draw 3 cubes. If you draw for blue, each blue is going to add +1 to this strength. We're going to place 1 cube in the draw and the rest back into the general supply. Again, whittling our bag down. We have the Guard Force Protector. If you have any keys in your hand, discard during this round's planet search. Allow 1 extra cube to be drawn per key. That is amazing. We have the Guard Force Infiltrator. Basically the same as the last card, except it's red. +1 if we draw red cubes. And the last one is a Guard Force Protector. If you have any keys in your hand, you get to draw an extra cube. Anyway, so we're going to move on. The first is 2 diplomacy. You can see here I have 0 diplomacy. It's not really worth evading. So I guess we're going to spend 2 and 1, and we've beaten this guy. Oh, and we have to draw 3 cubes. If for any of them are blue, so it might be worth evading. So let's just put that back. Reset. We're going to draw 3 cubes and pray we get no blues. No blues, which is excellent. So the gold cube is going to go back in the bag. One red cube is going to go back in the bag. One red cube is going to go into the general supply. We have finished that engagement. We have 2 combat here. We have 2 on our dice. We want that, certainly want that key. So we're just going to spend the 2. Our crew member goes pew, pew, pew. Turn him to a 3. He is now defeated. Now we need 3 more combat. I do want these codes, and I want that combat, eh? Wow. So first thing we have to do is draw 3 cubes. Hopefully we don't get any red cubes. Nope. Well, 3. They're all the same color. We're good. So we don't have to worry about it. 3 red. 1, 2, 3. He's defeated. And our guard force now is 2, and he comes back to the top. He's still red. We're going to use our dice. No, we can only use our... Yep, we can use our dice again per encounter. Pew, pew, pew. And he's down to a 1, so he's pretty much useless now. But we do defeat this guy. So everybody's been defeated. We can draw up to 3. Because of these, we can actually have 2 key cards. So we can draw... Our 3 is 5. So we're going to draw 5 cubes by discarding these. And our planet... And let's really hope that we get... actually, we're going to save that for our last planet. Because the last one is going to allow us to draw... turn whites into yellows if we draw them. So we're going to just draw the 3 cubes. Let's hope we draw some blues. Hopefully this isn't going to bite me in the butt. Nope, we got 2 reds. 1, 2, and an orange. And that is the end of this round. And these go back into our general supply. At this point in time, we're going to take our key card. So now we have 3 key cards, which is good. 4 key cards and a code card, which is excellent. This guy is going to go into our discard for cards. This guy's going into our discard for planets. We're going to pull that last planet out. That planet is Arda 3. If there are 3 more planet icons in the counter line, let's hope, you may discard 2 keys to turn a white into yellow, draw the yellow directly from the bag, and place the white back in the bag. So let's just hope. Because we're going to have a lot of... we should have drawn them before, but anyway, let's see what we get. This may bite me in the butt here. So 4 more cards. 1, 2, and we have a location. Actually, no, we don't. Yes, we do. We have a new location. It is the Science Lab. And each encounter gains 1 planet icon, which is good. Okay. 2. We have 2 hostile agents. And we have our famous Jatari. So we have lots of planet icons. 2 combat. We have 1. So we can spend 1 here. Our crew helps us. This crew is wisdom. So we're going to spend 2 here. And it says if you have... So this card allows me to draw. I may draw. And I don't need to understand that weapon. So I'm not going to draw at this point. We're coming down to here. 2 comes back to here. He's 2 more of these science. I think we'll just spend it. And that defeats that card. Again, I forgot to put the cubes in. You would think by now that I would have this down. And we have 1 of each, actually. So apparently I don't. But anyway. At this point we have a draw of 3. Let's hope we can leverage the planet, which says we can change a white into yellow. 1, 2, 3. Well, we have a yellow, which gives us 2 of the secret weapons. You have to spend 3 blue to understand this weapon. This is a telepathic communications with 3 diplomacy cubes and 1 searching a planet. Draw 1 additional cube for each planet. So it's going to take 3 blue to understand that. There's the first blue. And we bump our red. I think we're going to not do as well as we think we're going to do. We'll add 3 more planets. We have Archiman. Each key in your hand discarded during a planet search will allow you to draw 1 extra cube, which is good. I have four keys, so that's good. Search keys, Quarter Prime. If your hand discarded in the planet search, you may add 1 of each cube drawn, but it's a +2 ability of my choice. So that might be a great way of getting things back up. And Terrible, for each key discarded during planet for Guard Force, levels 3 to 5. Well, let's hope we get some Guard Force 3 to 5. I think we're going to go for this planet right here. And then we're going to draw up our cards. We have a station, an orbiting station in the red zone. Technobage adds +1 to their strengths. We have Safe Landing. Remove a maximum of 2 black cubes from the bag, placing them directly in the general supply. That's a good one. Oh, another one. Rest and Raise. Any one ability 3 points. Oh, thank the Lord. And our last card. If there are 3 or more planet icons in the encounter line with cards on the first draw, you may engage this Guard Force twice. Well, we don't have 3 or more. In fact, we got 1 blue cube. Hey, I remembered. As I spill everything on the ground, or at least on the table. We'll put the blue cube in the bag. The first one we're going to encounter, we can remove a maximum of 2 black cubes from the bag, placing them in the general supply. There are only 2 black cubes left, but that does thin our bag down a little bit. That helps. Phew. We're going to put up our Diplomacy 3. 1, 2, 3 for the second card. And we'll just defeat this with a orange card. Okay. We're down to 1 on that. We have 1 planet icon. And it says, for each code card in my hand, discarded during a planet fate will allow you to draw an extra cube. I have 2 code. So we're going to draw an extra cube, which will allow me to draw 3 cubes this turn. We don't want to cheat. So we got 3, 1, 2. No yellow though. 3. So 1 of each. 1, 2, 3. We discard our planet. We discard our cards. We draw the next planet. Let's draw this card. This one says, this is Qatari Prime. Each key in your hand discarded. Search, add to each +2 to an ability of your choice. Color specific instead of the +1. We're going to draw 4 more cards. 1, 2, 3. So we've gone through the next row. So we're going to put our cubes in the bag. We have 1, 2 combat and 2 science, 2 reds, 2 orange. And they're going to go into our bag. So if we don't draw yellow when we run out of this pile, we're going to lose. So we either have to draw super weapons. If we don't draw all by the end of this deck, we're pretty much pooched. So the first card is Guard Force Patrol. If encountered in the Cam Hegemony, which it is, place an additional black in the bag in the general supply if available. Well, we did. We took blacks out, so we're going to have to put the blacks in. Okay. It's going to cost us 2 combat to get rid of them. We're good. 1, 2. Oh, sorry, 4. 3, 4. We have a key here. We're going to come over to here to this guy. G-Force Vanguard. If encountered in an urban center, which it's not. So he's 4, and it's going to be 4 of these guys. I might have to evade, but boy, it's pretty close. Might have to use can't really use the red. So I can use 2 here, 1 here, and 4 here. Whoa. I put them in the bag from the last time because we bumped them up. Okay, this is tough. Okay, I'm going to spend 2, so that's going to take us down to 4. Our crew member is handily helping us. So that gives us 1, that gives us 2, it gives us 3 and 4, and we have defeated this guy. This guy is 3 orange, which we have absolutely no chance of really defeating. We can try to evade, but I have a feeling that we are not going to be able to do it because the blue and the orange are at risk. If we get down to 2 zeros here, we basically are going to lose the game. So, we are interestingly at a spot where I think we're going to lose the game. I can't really evade. I can't pay for that. Well, we can try to evade, but as you can see, if I evade, they're all going to go down to 2. Yeah, I think that's it for us. So basically what we're going to do is we'll draw. I can't knock down 1, and you have to draw a color. So let's knock down the blue. There's the orange. We're basically dead. That is the end of the game. So I'm going to come back for some final thoughts. So I had a lot of fun taping this. I made a lot of mistakes, and I'm going to call them out as we come across them because, you know, it's kind of fun to say, hey, look at the old guy. He forgets. Hey, well, you know, like I am a senior citizen, so, hey, I'm allowed to forget. But final thoughts, I think the game is good. It's well put together. The artwork is incredible. I really do love that pulp look of the game. I think, from my perspective, what I might do is photocopy the board where I'm keeping track and then buy bigger cubes. Because instead of the 8mm, I think I would prefer the 12mm cubes just because they're just a little bit bigger and easier to handle. The cards are okay. They're flimsy, but as you see, they're sleeved. So the sleeve gives them a little oomph. So I'm okay with that. The only criticism I can really make about this game, as you probably have saw me struggle, is reading the cards. Because of the artwork and there's a funky font, it's really difficult to make out some of the words. The way they're squeezed onto the cards. I think they would have been better off using a magic size card or a bridge deck card instead of the, I think this is 58 by 63 or something along that line. So I think it's a European standard or American standard. You can correct me in the comments. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you did like it, if you've played it, and if you've found some mistakes that I'm hopefully going to catch in my video, and I will put them up as subtitles. I could use the Klingon titles, but because I'm a one-man shop, it's just going to be easier for me to put the subtitles in. But if you do find a mistake that I missed or didn't call out, then put it in the comments, and then I will go into the Klingon channel and put that in there. This is Harry Jacobs for North of 60 Gaming, and I really appreciate you taking the time to share the game with me, and we'll see you again. Thank you.